Welcome to Witches in Yoga Pants, your cozy corner of the cosmos where modern magic meets everyday life. We're here to explore magic, mindfulness, and personal growth with a grounded, no-fluff vibe. Whether you're into moon rituals, tarot spreads, or just trying to survive Mercury retrograde, you are in the right place. So get ready to disrupt some old patterns, explore what it means to reclaim your power, and remember who you really are. So pull up your yoga mat, light a candle, and let's get into it. Welcome back. Today, I'm joined by Amanda, owner of the Herb Shop PDX, and we're talking about Amanda's most recent blog based on natural energy, the adrenals, and energetic balance. So welcome, Amanda. Thanks for joining again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
I love being on here with you. Always such great conversations.
So fun. Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive in here and talk about natural energy and adrenals and then what that means with like an energetic balance. For me, I feel like energy has so many different facets. It's not just how you feel, it's not just your space, it's not, just one aspect, it's a whole picture. And for me, natural energy and finding that balance in life has always been a challenge and a struggle.
Totally.
My mother's always said I have two speeds, that's high and off, because I just go so fast and then I crash and burn for a few days. And she's like, you're like a pressure cooker. You just like build up, and then you just like, it's all over, And,
Right.
so the large part of my adult life, especially as I got into herbal medicine, really understanding the adrenals and what that is and what that means, and really learning to take those pauses in life and resting has been a journey for sure. I'm almost 46 and still struggling with
Still
that.
struggling. Yeah.
But, the adrenals are such an important part of that fight or flight in our body. So, learning to pause when I need to, learning to take adaptogens. I mean, I take them on the regular and I have for years and years. And sometimes I may be taking an acute dose if it's a really, stressful period of time in my life, or
you're bottomed out, your energy's low.
Totally running 100 miles an hour,
Right.
I'm like, okay, like remember to take your adaptogens because you're going to completely crash and burn. And, I have noticed a huge difference and shifting that in my life, but it is still a constant, battle within myself.
Well, I think it's important to remember, though, that balance, even in energy balance, isn't an achieved state. It's like a constant,
It is,
right?
yes.
So there's always going to be ups and downs and times of high energy and low energy, and adaptogenic herbs, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the expert here, but they adjust accordingly, correct?
Yeah. They are called adaptogens because they are adapting your body, and they really are kind of that balancer in the body.
Right.
So the adrenals sit above the kidneys in the body, and it's that fight or flight, or when you're like, I'm so fatigued, or I can't sleep, or I feel like I'm sleeping and I'm still not rested. That's what they're doing, is they're just like fighting, like trying to keep up with you and balance it all out. So it's amazing when you start adding things like adaptogens into your body to really bring that balance and really regulate that fatigue and the stress and provide that natural energy in the body.
Right.
That is where we, thrive, is within that for sure.
Right. And even with that on board, it's still just a component, right? Because like, as you talked about, there's energy comes from all different sources. It's our environment. It's how we feel based off what's going on in our body and our sleep and all of that,
yes,
right?
And food is a huge part of that. So the adrenals obviously play one part of that, and they're the stress response, the fight or flight, like we've talked about. They also regulate your cortisol levels. They're your energy production. They are blood sugar, balancing hormones, all the things. Like, they are the teeter-totter. They're the Libra of your body, if you want to call it that. They're teeter-tottering all the things all the time. And so I think that's, really important to keep that in mind. So if you find that you are having that poor sleep, the sugar crashes, the emotional overwhelm, the anxiety, stress, things of that nature, and you feel like you're constantly stimulated, look at your adrenals and take a look. And there's a lot of really great adaptogen herbs that are out there that can help you bring that balance to your body.
Right. Yeah. And I think paying attention to your energy, because like you said, your mom said you're either go, go, go or crash, right? And paying attention to those little tiny signs of like, oh, actually, I'm feeling a little bit depleted. Maybe I need to rest, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because that goes into so many other issues. Once that's out of whack, like then your immune system's out of whack. So you make it
and then you get sick
easier. Yeah, for sure. And just, I think all of us, struggle with making sure we have good sleep and, rested sleep. And, again, that's something that if you're not getting that, the rest of your day is just totally out of whack.
Right. Well, it sends everything else out too. And like you said, then you have lowered immune system. Then you end up getting sick, and
then your stress and anxiety is higher.
Exactly.
And
like a loop.
Yes, it is.
So it's just that little bit of noticing. It's like, oh, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Maybe I need to stop and take a breath, before you let it snowball.
For sure. And that's that like simple pause in life, right? Where we're like, okay, I just need to take a deep breath, like stay off my phone, my laptop, whatever it might be, like disconnect. Like that is definitely a great thing, and I'm going to talk about food a little bit here too, because I feel like, food as medicine is crucial. And it's one of those things that can really help give you natural energy when you're eating the right foods for your body. And that is, things like healthy vegetables, making sure make sure you're getting good proteins, staying away from the sugar and the carbs so much, because those can, create that spike in sugar that throws your whole body off. But really understanding like food as medicine is such a huge thing. And for like every client I talk to them about the anti-inflammatory diet, which is a list of foods that cause inflammation in the body. And then that can throw off everything in your body if you are eating those. And so it's a great way to really know your body.
Totally.
And so, just really making sure you understand your body specifically, because yours is different than mine.
Absolutely.
And mine is different from the neighbor next door.
But just beginning to notice that, especially, I don't know if it's just age or what, but now, I mean, I've been through the gamut of like elimination diets and doing all of that over the years. And now I've got it pretty down pat. I'm basically just gluten-free is the only thing, but, but I still, if I go into a period where I'm eating like extra sugar, like more sugar or processed foods, there's no vegetables all of a sudden for a few days or whatever, my body knows like right away. I'm like, I'm not okay.
Yep. You're like my brain's not working. Like, I'm bloated. I'm gassy, like all the things.
It's like, yeah. So once you tune into it, it's hard to not.
Yeah.
Because you'll know.
It's very, very true. Yeah, for sure. So a few tips to keep your adrenals balanced are obviously what we just talked about. The, food is medicine, avoiding those sugar, spikes and crashes. But also your water intake, that's huge. Keeping your body hydrated. And there's lots of different schools of thoughts with that, but I've always been taught half your body weight in ounces is a really good place to start. So if you weigh 100 pounds, 50 ounces of water, it's an easy math formula there. That is definitely huge though. I mean, and really like keeping all of your organs in general hydrated is so important. I mean, because if you're not, like those will shut down and that's a whole nother issue that you're dealing with.
Absolutely. And I think we touched on this once before, but I think it's important to mention again. With the hydration is, drinking when you're thirsty, making sure that you take the time out, because I know a lot of us get busy and you'll be like, I'm thirsty, but I'll finish this first. And then before you know it, you're doing something else and you're like, oh, I still haven't quenched this thirst.
Oh yeah.
And then there's the whole aspect of if you're drinking and you aren't feeling satisfied, you may want to look at adding some electrolytes in there.
Oh,
and we talked about that before too.
Sure. I think electrolytes are just such a great added feature to your body.
Totally.
And I think that like you're saying, like just keeping everything hydrated. I feel like I always tell people I have a drinking problem because I have 3 drinks in front of me at all times.
Caffeine.
Yeah, it's usually like an iced tea, my electrolyte water, and a kombucha, and I just like rotate them as I'm working, and
Just
So,
going to consume all of these at some point throughout this day.
yeah, for
Yes.
sure, for
I think that's a
sure.
good way to go.
Yeah,
Cover your
yeah.
bases.
Yes. And then, prioritizing your rest and deep sleep is really important.
Totally.
And I know it's challenging for me, especially, and for lots of people to like be like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed every night at 10:30 and I'm gonna wake
Mhm.
up at this time in the morning. Like it's
Totally.
really challenging to do that, but like trying to strive towards the majority of your sleep being within, the same amount of time frame
Totally.
can really help that. Plus, that also helps your organs to regenerate and to, process and do all the things they need to do
Right.
so that you are getting that healthy rest and then waking up the next day and feeling your best.
Totally.
Mm.
And this is a good time to say this too. When you say prioritizing rest, I know there's a lot of people that feel guilty to rest, right? Like if you want to take a nap, but you feel like, oh, but I've got all this stuff I need to do. I mean, we were
That
talking.
was me yesterday.
I know, but it's like you have to. If you feel like
Yeah.
you need to rest, you need to rest.
It is.
And
Yes.
based on human design type, people with open sacral centers need more rest than they think they need. And
Yeah.
if they don't get that rest, then they are burning out.
Yeah, I am
And
super
that's
cranky if I do not get the right amount of sleep. And,
totally,
like everybody has their different sleep hours that they're required for their body,
totally.
But I'm like a good solid like 8 to 10 hours is like absolutely what my body needs.
Same.
And I'm not much of a napper. And you brought that up because we were talking about that. And yesterday I was just like so exhausted. And I took a 2-hour nap, and then I woke up and was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel so guilty at all these other things I needed to do."
But you needed it.
But I needed it so bad, and I just like
Yeah.
had to forgive myself for like needing to rest and needing to pause. And
You have to, especially with all the things you do, right?
yeah,
Like,
for sure.
You just have to.
I'm like, if not, my brain is not functioning
No,
at its optimal
I'm the same
levels.
though. I need at least 8 hours.
Yeah.
I would prefer to just kind of have more. And then
Yep.
I'm a 15-minute nap queen. Like
You're lucky.
I can take a quick one and be revitalized. So
Yep.
you got to
Usually-
find out what's right for you. But
Right,
like,
it's true.
yeah.
And usually, like, I don't nap. I'm really bad at napping. If I go down, I'm usually down for the count.
You're out for
I'm
like
out. I
hours.
could go to sleep at 2 in the afternoon and not wake up till the next day sometimes, and that's just that's that's my crash and burn.
I was going
right
to say
there.
that
That's
is
my
you
crash and
burning
burn.
yourself
Yep.
out to where you can't go anymore.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
yeah.
So those are my life journey lessons that I'm sure will be with me till the end of time. But it's a constant balance and making sure that I am just stopping and pausing when I need to. And so some other things are definitely like gentle movement, and that does not have to be that you're going to do a CrossFit thing. Like this is like go for a walk around your block, go to the park and go for a walk, do some stretching, stick your face in the sunshine, whatever it might be,
Right.
to just kind of get some blood flowing, get that energy moving.
I think another point to make here during this movement piece is tuning into your body when you're thinking about exercise, because I've had clients that have this strict exercise regimen that they try to do all the time, no matter where their energy is.
Yeah.
Like they might be depleted and they're still going to go do an hour of cardio and, whatever they're doing, like this hard workout.
Yeah.
And I think tuning into the energy that you have in your body and realizing that the amount of exercise and movement is going to flow, or is going to ebb and flow as well. It needs balance as well.
Does.
It's not a constant outpour of like, I'm going to go do a HIIT class or whatever they're called,
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with that completely. And, even within that, our bodies cycle differently, especially female bodies. We have all of our cycles with our hormones. And there's a really great book out there that I love. It's called The Woman Code by Alyssa Vite, I think is how you pronounce her last name. And I love how she breaks down every cycle that we have. And not only is it what you should eat, but it's how you should exercise. Because I
love that.
don't think that we should exercise exactly the same every day. I think that then our body starts to regulate that as normal. And so then you hit those plateaus,
Right.
like it becomes normal for you.
Or heavy
versus-
exertion classes any day, or
Yeah.
exercise routine.
For sure.
Because some days you might want to walk or do
Yep.
yoga and then you do a hard cardio. It's
Exactly.
like alternate it.
Yep. Everyone is different
Yep.
within that for sure. And I know some people also really are, I have to do this or I'm not going to do it. So
Mhm.
everybody's brains are different within that,
Totally.
but I'm on the same page as you. Is like, I don't actually want to do the same type of exercise every day. I would like that variety of, okay, I'm walking certain days. Like,
Mm,
I work with horses, so there's a lot of physicality
yeah,
to
some days you're
that.
just doing that,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
and that is enough some days. And then, other days I'm like, I want to go do a yin yoga class,
Yep,
or I want to go for a hike, or maybe I want to go swimming. Like there's so many ways that you
totally.
can actually get exercise in that is not necessarily just like this focus driven.
Yeah,
I'm doing the
but
exact
letting
same
that
thing.
match your energy level versus forcing yourself to do something you don't have energy for, you know?
Yes,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. All right, let's dive in here a little bit more. So, slowing down your nervous system is also really important for the adrenals. And,
Totally.
that can be breath work, that can be herbs, that can be some sort of ritual that you might do when maybe it's taking a bath, but just really like trying to slow down, especially in the evenings before you're trying to, go to bed and things like
Mhm.
that and get that rest. Sometimes it's a process of an hour or so or 30 minutes, before then
Totally.
that you're really just slowing down, disconnecting from social media or text messages or the TV or whatever it
Whatever it
is.
is, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think breath work is a really key ingredient to slowing down.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about that a little bit more here soon. But also, incorporating those herbal supplements into your daily regimen is really great. And again, like it kind of goes into food as medicine. Maybe you can
Mhm.
figure out a way to add some of these adaptogens into a smoothie versus like taking tea or a tincture or a capsule. And
Totally fit them into your routine in a way that works,
yes,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're never going to work if you're never
You
going to
forget to
take
take
them.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I feel like that's a constant conversation with people when they're like, well, which
Constant.
one works better? And I'm like, well, the one that you take is going to
The
be the
one that you
one.
take is
Exactly, yeah.
yeah.
And so to hop back in a little bit about breath work, this blog's got a really great, easy, simple reset for your energy here. And there's lots of different breathing techniques. I really love the box breath as well.
Mhm.
But this one is just, get your feet on the ground. I love it if you can go outside and get in the grass or the dirt or whatever it is. That really helps with grounding.
Totally.
And then, putting your hand on your heart and one on your, back and your kidneys and adrenal area, because that then you're sending that breath to that area and really focusing
Mm.
and concentrating. And then you're gonna just slowly inhale through your nose and exhale out. You're gonna do like a 4 count in, a 6 count out, and then just keep rebreathing that until you feel your body go, ah, okay, like this is
Right.
great. And I love this here, like just giving yourself the mantra of I am safe and I can slow down is so powerful.
It's so powerful.
We have to constantly tell ourselves these things because again, society is so fast all the time and
So
it's
fast.
changing all the time. And, we're like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to learn this new technique. Oh, your brain
Well, we're
is
being
ping ponging.
constantly bombarded these days, right?
Yes.
With our phones that we're carrying around and,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
so
Constant,
so
constant. And
yes, it's okay to slow down.
and I'll just like kind of throw this in here too. It's a great thing to take like a social media detox.
Yeah.
It really is. Or TV or whatever your like main thing that you feel like you're kind of addicted to a little
Mhm.
bit. Like
Mhm.
give yourself a week off from it and just see how you feel after that. See
Right.
if your rest feels better. See if, your sleep feels better, like all those things. And
Your nervous
your
system feels more
nervous
relaxed
system.
after
Yes.
not comparing yourself to every single person you see on the internet,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Or I mean, I find myself like scrolling and being like, "Oh, look at that program. Oh, look at
Oh,
this thing. Oh,"
same.
and
Oh
I'm
my
like, "Oh, I should
gosh.
do this for my business. Oh, I should do
Same.
this for my exercise or whatever. And it's really easy to get
I have
sucked into that.
stopped impulse purchasing those things.
Mhm. It's so easy to do it. You're like,
It's like,
"Oh,
"Oh, I'm gonna do that class."
it's $25. I got this."
Oh,
So,
yeah.
for sure. All right, let's dive in a little bit here to some herbs that are adaptogenic herbs. These
Yes.
are some of my favorites. There are many out there for sure, but I've worked with most of these pretty extensively. ashwagandha is one that's fantastic. It has a pretty nice flavor to it. Also, it's got a little malty, sweetish flavor to it. I say that lightly because all herbs like tend to
Yeah.
be a little on the bitter side. But
Yeah.
as far as these herbs go, that one and the maca are really lovely. Blended together. I love putting those actually in a milkshake. I've got a blend, the Muscle Maximizer, that has those in there, and it has a little pumpkin pie spice in there. So you put that in your smoothie, and it is so
Yum.
yummy.
Yeah.
And then rhodiola is another delicious. It's pretty mild flavored. It's a little more on the bitter than like the ashwagandha and the maca, but another excellent adaptation. Eleuthero is also Siberian ginseng. So, a lot of times people want to go to American ginseng or some of the other ginsengs out there, and they can be fantastic as well. But I find that they're more of a spike and then like a crash a little bit, even though they are still
Oh.
adaptogens. I feel like Eleuthero is a very nice, gentle, easy ginseng. And
Okay.
so
Okay.
and it's also a lot more affordable, like because like American ginseng is one that's endangered,
Mm.
and so it's 3 times the
So it's
cost
expensive.
of Eleuthero. And it's a great herb, but I find that I personally, and again, like everything, like everyone's body is slightly different. But I love Eleuthero. I love the way that it feels in my body.
Nice.
And then the last one on this list here is reishi, and reishi mushroom is fantastic. I mean, I feel like so many of the
So
medicinal
many of the
mushrooms,
medicinal, the
they're
mushrooms are great.
they
Like
are.
turkey tail and cordyceps and all those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And reishi is known as the mushroom of immortality. So I feel
Mhm.
like it has this very like grandiose like personality, if you want to call it that. But it also just such a great
Is it the
adaptogen.
diva of the mushrooms?
Maybe. I'm like, I haven't thought about that, but I'll get back to you on that.
Okay,
I feel like
okay.
I feel like it could definitely be the diva of the mushroom world.
Okay.
So
That's great.
yeah. And so those are just a few. I mean, and I encourage people to try them individually, really feel how they feel in your body.
Mm.
You
You
know,
do that with a tincture?
yeah, you could do a
Make it,
tincture.
yeah.
You can make a cup of tea with it. You can
Mm-hmm.
do a capsule with that as well if you wanted to. But start with one, maybe do one a week and see like if you like one better than the other.
Yeah.
Some can be a little hotter in the body, some can be a little more cooling in the body.
Let's take a second here to talk about this because I know we're about to go into some other, specific blends and stuff that you have available and that are even on sale right now
Yeah.
today as we speak. But let's talk about the different ways people can source this stuff. So do you have dry herbs available on your website as well as tinctures as well? So they have choices. Do you want to just talk about that a little bit? Because
Yes. Yep,
I've had some feedback
absolutely.
of people heard us talking and didn't know exactly where to go.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
let's
Yes,
talk
you
about
can
that.
definitely go to the website, which is the herbshoppdx.com, and shop is SHOPPE.
Mhm.
I saw all of these in bulk herb, a lot of these in bulk powder as well, or tincture. And then I can also do custom blend of anything. So if you were
Nice.
like, hey, I want a capsule of this or a tincture with, maybe 3 of these herbs, I can always customize anything. I'm in the process of having it accessible on the website, so you can actually go in and custom blend. Yeah, it's really
Ooh.
exciting. It's been in the works for many, many years, and we finally found a way to do this. So right now you can do custom tea blends on there. Soon you'll be able to do custom essential oils and bath salts, and then it'll be tinctures. And there's a whole list of ones that we're working out. But
Okay, that sounds great.
But
Yeah.
in the meantime, you can always just email the shop, or we've got a chat. You can call me, you can text me, you can reach out to me in 10 different ways, but we
Yeah.
can get it sorted for you. And typically I create an invoice and email it over, and then you can have your custom blend.
Nice. Okay. I just wanted to kind of clarify that. If you wanted to
Yes.
try these individually, you can get it in a
Yes,
dry form or in a tincture
absolutely.
or whatever.
And with that being said, I sell most of my bulk herbs by the ounce or the quarter ounce. So you can actually get a small amount of that without having to buy 4 ounces or 8 ounces or a pound, which is often what you see.
What you see when at some of the bigger herbal. Yeah. Yep.
And I do that because sometimes you might not like that herb, so being able to get a small amount of that is really important and helpful for
And to be able to
people.
try it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, on a little tangent here, like a lot of people have no idea what an ounce of like mullein might look like versus an ounce of ashwagandha.
Right.
And that's a huge difference, and it's hard. And I don't expect people to understand the volume of what one of those looks like versus the other.
I don't understand. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, every once
it's a
in a
big
while,
difference.
I'll get an order for 7 ounces of mullein or something, and I'm like, hey, do you know how much?
Do you know how much mullein that is?
Mullein that is. Oh, there's obviously a learning curve with that, but that's also why I do like smaller amounts that you can purchase on the website.
It sounds like you can always message with questions if you're not sure.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's see here. Let's dive in a little bit to some supportive herbal practices that are separate outside of the adaptogens themselves, but some things that can really help would be digestive bitters. Those are great for getting into your digestive tract, especially if you already have digestive issues going on. That just helps keep things running smoothly and regulated. Another thing is the green food. We kind of talked about that a little bit, but a really good green food supplement that's just giving you a high packed boost of vitamins basically is always an excellent addition to your daily. And again, that can be a capsule. You can throw it in a smoothie. There's a lot of them out there.
There's
that
a lot
you
of
can
different
just put
ways
in the water and mix it around. So, but especially if you find that you are lacking in vegetables on the regular, this is like a bonus added in, takes you 5 seconds.
It's a way to get all those nutrients that you need without having to eat.
Yes, exactly.
All of it, if you're not,
and then if you are finding that you're having issues with blood sugar regulation, there are tons of herbs out there that can help with that. And on this blog, there's 2 that are my favorite. Gymnema is fantastic for sugar cravings. So if you find that you're like constantly craving sugar, it really helps to cut that craving down. And Devil's Club is another one that can help with that as well. Devil's Club is also an adaptogen herb, and so it's kind of the only one on this little section here that that is also an adaptogen. But it's one of my favorites. It grows all over.
I've never heard of that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look it up. It's a magical plant. I've done some extensive work one-on-one with Devil's Club for emotional as well as just energy and adaptogens, but both of those are great for blood sugar regulation also.
Love that.
And then we already talked a little bit about custom blends, but yeah, if you're like, hey, I want this, oh, I can't have that, or let's try this, so I can always create a custom blend for any person that might need one.
And you guys offer herbal consultations on a sliding scale. So also, if you're not sure what kind of blend you need or want, you can meet with you or one of your other herbalists, right?
For sure. There's several of us that are doing the 30-minute sliding scale consultations, and put that out there because I really want to be able to help any person that has a question with that. And it kind of takes place of having a storefront and people coming in and having that 30-minute conversation with you. I want people to feel like they can still come to me and there's a full intake, so I get a really good, well-rounded picture of what all's going on in your life.
Yeah, which is important.
It is, because that's not about just taking a plant and being like, oh, okay, cool,
this is going to make everything. No,
it's really like, again, finding that balance in the body and in your lifestyle and your wellness practices and trying to find that perfect balance for you. So
awesome.
Yeah. So a few different products that we have at the shop that are adaptogenic or are plant blends. I've got a few listed on this blog, and really there's a whole line of them. And a large chunk of these are actually 15% off through April. And so dive in there and get those right away. But the Better Than Coffee is great, especially if you drink coffee and you're really trying to get off coffee. It has a very similar roasted flavor taste to it, but there is no caffeine in here. But it has those adaptogen herbs, the ashwagandha and maca. And so that is going to be a great replacement for your natural energy balance, because you're going to get it natural because your body is providing it with these versus that spike that
pouring in of the caffeine and then
yes, exactly, that spike that coffee gives you. And it's super yummy. I love this blend, and I'm not a coffee drinker, but I think that most people that drink coffee really appreciate this.
Is it a tea form?
It is tea form.
Yeah.
That is a tea form. And
I have
then
to try that. That sounds really
yeah, yeah.
nice.
I feel like especially if you are a coffee drinker and you're looking to get out of that, that is an awesome tea blend for replacing that same ritual that you have.
Or even just for me in the afternoon, I could use a little pick me up
Mhm,
to use
mhm.
something like this instead of caffeine again, right? If you're trying to
Absolutely.
do that. So,
Absolutely. Yep. And then Soul Shine is probably my most favorite blend. It was one of the first ones that I created. And that is an adaptogen blend. It has a lot of the herbs that we talked about in there. And that you can get in tea form or tincture form. I've worked with this blend now for, I'm going to go 13 years with this one.
wow,
And
nice.
it's my staple when I know I'm gonna need that extra energy. I'll, take more of an acute dose. I'm more of a tincture person than I am a tea person just
Yep.
because I don't sit still long
Just
enough.
pop it in your mouth and
Yes,
go.
I can keep that tincture with me in the car if I need to or whatever. And so
Yeah.
that's definitely one of my favorites. The Nutritive Beginnings is also a great mineral vitamin boost, and so it's similar to like like a green food blend, but it is a tea and there's a tincture for that one as well. And then the Vital Greens is my that is my blend that I make in house that is a green food and it's great for smoothies. It's
Mm,
very, very green. It has a lot
it
of the
comes in
sea plants.
powder.
It's powdered
Okay.
already. Yep. And I do have that one in capsule as well if you just don't have time for smoothies. So a
Yeah.
couple different options. And then the
Nice.
Muscle Maximizer we talked about, and that's the one with the ashwagandha and maca and the pumpkin pie spice blend. And it's just such a great
That sounds
blend.
so yummy.
It's super yummy. And just again, that great little extra natural energy booster that's not going to give you that crash that you get so much with
Hmm.
caffeine.
I
Um,
love those. Those all sound delicious. I want to try them all.
yeah, I know, right? Like just light them all
Gotta
up.
go. Gotta go place an order now. Bye. No.
Right?
Go ahead.
Totally, yeah. So, as far as like herbs and things of that nature, that's kind of a good, well-rounded picture of different options that you can look at.
Hmm.
But let's dive in a little bit to, the clearing and the resetting, the actual energetic versus the physical.
Yeah. Of your space or of your energy
Hmm.
field. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely am a huge advocate for clearing your space.
Yeah.
And, I feel like at my house, if things are not in order, I can't get anything else done.
Yeah.
And, but actually doing a cleansing with like a smoke bundle of some sort. Um, and again, there's lots of schools of thoughts for this, but
Hmm.
I typically will take a bundle and start in a corner of a room and go to all the corners of that
Hmm.
room. And then, open the door and swish that out, whether you're sweeping it out or just swishing it out. If you're having a hard time with somebody in your space and you need some protection, this can be another great asset to utilize to like clear that energy
Clear that
out
energy
of the
out.
space. Yes,
Yes.
yes. And that can really help just reground yourself. I feel like I don't know really what it is about burning herbs, but it's like, oh,
I don't
okay,
know
thank
either, but
you.
I can really feel the difference.
Yes, a
And
complete
and
reset.
even just, I see a majority of my clients on Zoom, like
Mm.
I clear between each person because
Mhm.
it's like I just want the energy to be cleared,
Yeah.
and it's important and you can feel the difference once you do it.
You
Yeah.
really, really can. That's for sure. And I really appreciate that. And, to dive in a little bit more about, smoke bundles and what you're using.
Hmm.
There's so many plants out there and, often overused are white sage and Palo Santo. And,
Yeah.
they've been used so many times that now they're endangered and there's some cultural appropriation also with those.
Totally.
So I feel when it comes to making smoke bundles, look and see what's growing around you
Right.
because there's usually an abundance of something. For here, I love using mugwort, lavender, rosemary, juniper, cedar. All of those grow so great in the Pacific Northwest.
Hmm.
And you can do a blend of all of these, or you can just have one of them and use what's there,
Right.
and they're gonna you can dive into each one and see what each of those are clearing for you. Like mugwort, for example, is amazing for intuition, the dream world, so if you're diving into lucid dreaming or just what having some issues even with your dreams. Like
Right.
mugwort can be an awesome asset and ally for you within, making a smoke bundle with.
Even for setting the intention, if you're wanting to tap into your dreams more and you've got your
Mm-hmm.
dream journal there, just burning
Mm-hmm.
that and setting the space of like, okay, I want messages to come through my dreams tonight, and just kind
Yes.
of setting that energy.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that is it. Again, you were talking about the
Yeah.
energy, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not just your physical, like physiological energy, it's your space. It's setting those intentions to have or bring in whatever energy you're trying to work with as really
Totally.
important.
I love that you have herbs listed that aren't sage,
Mm-hmm.
because that's like the go-to.
It is.
And it's so hard, I feel like, to get ethically sourced. Even, I mean, like you said, it's endangered, but to get ethically sourced sage, even if it says it isn't always really,
That's true.
and so it's
I
just
feel like
hard.
if you're growing it yourself,
Yep.
great,
Yep.
Or if you know a company that is growing it and it's sustainable, awesome. Those are great
Mhm.
ways to work with that. But
Mhm.
work with what you have and work with what's around you. And to chime into mugwort a little bit here too,
Yeah.
we'll just say, use that sparingly, because if you already have really intense dreams, it can amplify that in a way that can be uncomfortable. So,
Really, really lucid dreaming is what you're
really,
saying?
really lucid dreaming. Yes, exactly. And I'm notorious for always doing a little too much of something with plants. And
Higher than a kite.
yeah, the first time I drank the dream tea to like test it out, it already has mugwort in there. And
Yeah.
I was like, how about I just add a little extra mugwort in
Oh,
here?
of course.
Oh no, I was in and out of this lucid dream all night long. I didn't sleep. I mean, I wasn't rested sleep because it was just like, oh,
Dreams
my
can be
gosh.
exhausting.
They
Yeah.
can be for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that's not our goal here.
No,
like,
no, we
it's
want to
not
be
our
able to
goal.
rest.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. So a little bit goes a long way. I mean, really with all herbs, like a little bit goes a long way.
Totally.
But
Totally.
mugwort's one of those funny ones for me where I'm like, oh yeah, I have a story about mugwort.
Overdid it a little bit. Yeah, I love that the rosemary's for protection and clarity, because
Yeah.
that could be a kind of a replacement for that sage, of just kind of resetting the protection in the space. I love that.
Absolutely. I mean,
And the cedar cleansing. Gosh, rosemary and cedar together would be
Mhm.
amazing. So
yeah, for sure. And rosemary, is such a good brain plant anyway. So
Mhm.
like that clarity, like that sharpness, the cuteness that you get from just a glass of rosemary tea
Totally.
is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many plants to work with, and dive into harvest what is around you versus like what's popular more so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned the natural twine here. So do you want to just kind of walk through that a little bit?
Yeah,
Because if you're making your
absolutely.
own smoke bundle and you've never done that before, there's some
Mhm.
things to think about.
There
So,
definitely are. And it's very simple, but you really want to gather like what seems like it's going to be more than you need, because it does shrink down
mhm.
of whatever herb it is that you have. And I usually get like a good, handful of that. And then, taking the natural twine, I feel like natural twine is a great way to bind that together. Some people will use different color threads as well, depending on
Mhm.
what they're calling in. Like the different colors can associate to things like
Different
protection
energies. Oh,
or
yeah.
love or abundance or whatever it is that you might be trying to create there. So that might be a fun way to kind of dive into that. And so, yeah, after you get that, then I usually will, start at the top of it and tie a knot in the top, wrap it around a few times. And then I'll go all the way down, wrap a few times at the bottom, and all the way back up again to kind of
Mhm.
crisscross on there.
Mhm.
And then you kind of want to just let it sit for, depending on the plant, it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, just to make sure it's really dry. Because
Dry out.
you're
Yeah.
starting with, a fresh plant. I don't know if I said that, but, starting with a fresh plant is way easier than starting with a dried plant and then trying to turn it into a smoke bundle.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, it's very simple. And then I usually trim the ends just to give it a little bit of a clear cut. But,
Mhm.
there's other ones that, maybe I put some yarrow in there and I want those pretty flowers to come out of the top of it. So, you can be creative with what you're doing. There's not really a right or wrong way to make a bundle, but,
I love that. I have some yarrow growing in my backyard.
mhm.
I'm gonna use some of that.
There you
Mhm.
go. Make you a little protection bundle there. So,
Mhm.
yeah, we all need lots of protection. these
We all
days.
need lots of protection.
Lots and lots of protection these days. So yeah, that is a simple way to do that. And we make lots of different bundles at the shop with different herbs and things like
Oh, so
that.
you have them for sale too,
We
if
do,
people want to
yep,
buy the
yep,
bundles. Okay,
yep,
perfect.
I do as well, in there. And actually, we're going to be making smoke bundles at the summer solstice event that's coming up in June.
Oh,
And
nice.
so that
Okay.
is always a fun thing. So if you want a beautiful day retreat, we're doing a full day with St. John, guided plant meditation, herb walk, making some products. There'll be yoga and sound healing. And then I'll be doing a guided plant meditation with sound healing, like we've been doing with the classes this spring. And so, but it's a whole day retreat.
A whole day retreat.
Uh-huh.
And that's on June 20th, right?
It's on June 20th. It's at the Confluence Arts Center out in Scotts Mill. And this is our 4th year doing that. So
Yeah.
it's growing and evolving every year.
So if you're in Oregon,
or even if you're not and you want to
come visit, we're here hanging out. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. It will be a lovely day to just, welcome the light and to gather and celebrate and all the good things.
You have one more of the plant meditation series coming up in May, right?
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll be working with Rose. It's on May
Rose.
14th, and that's at Candle Creations here. And I'll be planning out some more for the fall also.
Good. Those have been fun. I've been attending those, and
they're so special.
They're good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's a nice way to spend your Thursday evening. Where
It is.
You're like, oh, I got a natural reset.
Yes.
So
yeah. Love it. Love it.
I love that you're loving them too.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun. Let's talk about the magic behind the smoke clearing, because you've got a section here about that. Let's talk about that.
For sure. So energetically, like some things that you might want to work with whenever you're doing a smoke cleansing are, clearing that stagnant or heavy energy. That's so important. And again, that kind of goes back to what we were briefly talking about. Like maybe you have a bad roommate, or maybe you just got in an argument with your partner.
I was just going to say, I clear every time. If we get in any kind of argument, I'm walking through the house and the dogs are looking at me like, okay, we're cool now.
Yes, for sure. And so that's, a few ways. And then, setting the emotional tone of your space also, again, like, talking about going into the dream world, like maybe burning that mugwort before you are emotionally and energetically setting that tone for what you're diving into. And it can be anything, but that's just one example. Supporting the transitions, whether that's seasonal, personal, or spiritual, also another great way to use smoke bundles and clearing your space.
Love that. It's so important.
It is. And then, creating that intentions and presence, right? That's really what we're doing here is like, okay, our words are so powerful. And when you think about, spells or trying to create the path that you want for your life or allowing that path to open. It is so much of like, I am creating this intention. I am setting this intention for myself. And therefore it is present in that space.
Absolutely. And to do that mindfully is so important, because you are manifesting whether you know it or not.
Yep. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
If there are negative words or negative energy coming out, then that is what you're going to attract.
Of course, yeah. That's why I say your words are powerful.
Your words are powerful. They're spells, and you're always manifesting.
Yeah, for sure. And I try to help educate people on that on the daily. Like people may say, oh, whatever. They may say something that's like rude or hateful, and like, oh, I'm just kidding. Well, actually, you're not, because now you just put that into the energy.
Totally.
Like you're creating that. Whatever you say, like, is what you're putting out there.
Totally. And that's a constant. I catch myself doing, it's like, it's a constant paying attention, being mindful of where your thoughts are.
For sure.
Because that is what you're bringing in.
It is, and it's the karma that we put out into the world with our words. And then, obviously things come back and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, totally called that in an accident.
Yeah. So clear that space and only put positive intention and words out there. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then magically, of course, like you're working with the element of air. You're working with the element of fire, and you're working with the plants. So those are all combined together and creating, this ritual within using a smoke bundle and clearing your space.
Magic.
Yeah, it is magic. So we kind of briefly talked about like the simple rituals. So
Yeah.
again, I tend to do the corners of whatever space I'm in, whether that's
Hmm.
your whole house or whether that is just one room. And then energetically, like going through that space and speaking, like a lot of times I will say prayers or intentions or whatever it is that I am working with within that space, and then just open that door window and just let it out.
Totally.
So now you're not only like cleansing your space, but you're speaking those words out into the universe as that
Hmm.
smoke goes out of your space.
Hmm.
And it's just such a simple, easy reset that we can all do.
Hmm.
It doesn't require having to go somewhere, do something with someone where they're doing an energetic clearing necessarily. Like,
Right.
you're doing
Simple,
this for
easy way to do it.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're doing this for yourself for sure. So,
absolutely. I love the idea of setting the intention. I do that as I'm clearing. I'm
mhm.
like, okay,
Yes, for sure. It's really powerful.
opening a space and then closing a space.
hmm
So,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. So those are, all some great ways to work with like physiologically, energetically, all the above. Like they're all connected. They're all connected to where you are, the people that are around you. So, those are just a few little tips, and people are feel free to reach out with any other questions that might, come up for them as they're, listening to this and reading the blog and learning more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just remembering that, you know, the energy in your body impacts your energetic energy, and that impacts everybody else, just like you were just saying, but it really
hmm
does cascade out.
It
So,
does. And,
yeah.
we're all cultivating our own lives, right? We're
Mhm.
all creating our own life path. So if you feel really stuck, these, especially the energetic clearing part of this can be a great tool to add to your tool belt to really start pushing through whatever you're working on.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you so much. This has been fun. This has been a good conversation.
Yeah, thank you
So yeah,
again.
check out the blog. Amanda's information is in the show notes, as a co-creator of this episode. And yeah, you can check out the website at theherbshoppdx.com.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.